Hey guys, Jason Sam Kovac here, Traditional Bow Hunting and Wilderness Podcast, and today we're going to talk about good clear cuts versus bad clear cuts, old versus new, that kind of thing when you're hunting, because clear cuts are a fantastic food source. I know a lot of people get mad when they go up north, especially northern Michigan, because it's very popular for logging up here. Okay, a lot of the states are like that. Even down in Georgia, tremendous logging happening with with the pines and stuff down there like that. So it's a very popular thing, but a lot of people get mad. They're like, oh my god, they just clear cut my area and it's going to be horrible. They wrecked it. They technically didn't wreck it. They made it better for a while for you. There's some advantages to it. So we're going to talk about good versus bad ones for you for a minute. I'm right here by my house, literally a mile and a half away. And I wanted to come and take a look at this. I've been watching this clear cut for a few years, and I'm learning it really well, and I know a lot about it. I don't hunt it a ton because it is very popular here. This is a very popular spot, and a lot of people come here. But late season, I like to get in here, and once in a while, if the wind's right for a couple spots, I may hit it the very first week of the season. After that, I don't care for it too much just because of the sheer number of people. But it is a right by my house kind of spot, but I also... it gives us the best of both worlds to show you good and bad. So we're using it as a reference here today. So what we have here is on this side, over here, we have a 4-year-old clear cut, 4 to 5 years max. Okay, I can't remember if it was 4 years or 5 years, but that's what we have over here, which we'll get into. And then on this side, we have 20-year-old, 15 and 20-year-old clear cut. All right, so there's some major differences here that we're going to take a look at. So we're going to walk down here. I had to park over there. Oh, we got coyotes going right down the road here. So we're going to take a look at this and think about it for a minute. Now this over here, like I said, we're looking at 15 to 20-year-old clear cut in here. You can tell by the size of the poplars and the stuff. Poplar is the first thing that grows here, and they just got done edging the road. They do this every few years just for site visibility and for stuff like that. And if they do come back in here to log, they can get the trucks by, which I'm assuming because they did that, they're probably going to come through and log again somewhere down this road. But when you look at this kind of a clear cut here, this here, you'll notice a few differences between these, okay? 4-year-old clear cut and a 20-year-old clear cut, basically. Look at the ground in here, okay? Notice it's all leaves. Nothing else there. Leaves, just a lot of poplar, a little bit of pine. Looks like they left the pine in there when they did it and worked around it. But there's not much in here. Now, there is still browse. You can see them already hitting it here. Okay, see, they go after these. These are browse. They go after the buds and the stuff on here. You can see them hitting it on here and chewing on these. And there's some in here, but when you get into here, there's not much available for them here other than cover. And actually, as you notice, the low-level cover really is pretty thin in here. Okay, there's not a lot of low-level cover because this ground stuff, as you see it laying everywhere, is starting to die off. The trees that are blocking the sun are killing the ones down below, so we're really starting to get pretty open down in the bottom of this. And most of your leaves from over all these years have covered the ground. Nothing's coming up out of there. All right, so what you're getting to here is you're starting to get to almost an older growth where all of the food is up there. Not much. Now there is some, but you can see it's pretty through here where a deer would be. There's not a lot here food-wise. There's not any food on the ground for the most part that's coming up out of there. Grasses, growth, clover, any of that kind of stuff because of the way that the sun gets blocked out in here. And all you really have here is cover. Now, the cover here is good. If you pick one of these, one of these types of setups is close to a food source, they will use it for travel for security cover. They're not bedding in here. There's not much bedding cover in here, okay? This is not where deer want to bed. They don't have any security of bedding in here that's going to interest them. Again, we're too open on the low side, even though it's pretty thick to try and shoot through, but it's not what they're looking for that kind of stuff. So these, when you start getting into this older clear cut kind of stuff like this, they start to lose their appeal. You don't have any tracks, any trails through here. You don't have much sign through here. Again, there's no food in here. There's not a little bit of browse, but not a ton. It's just not something that really has a lot of interest to them other than a transitional zone of cover to move from one area to another area. And that is primarily what they'll use this for, you know, this kind of stuff. So you got to watch these as they get older. They start to kind of die out. After about 10 years, 10, 12 years, they, like I said, they kind of just have a period of another, you know, 10 or 12 years where they're no longer considered a food or bedding source. They may just be travel cover. Now, when you look on this side, immediately notice here, now what we got here is a clear cut that they did 4 or 5 years ago. They left this tall stand of pines. They left that tall stand of pines right there too. So what you end up with is a point here that comes out and a point here that comes out. Guarantee you there's bedding on both sides of these. Makes it really good. We're going to take a walk in here and take a look at this, and I'm going to show it to you. Hold on, we got a car coming by. That car come by, everybody's all, hey, what are you doing? Why are you running your camera? Anyway, we are in here, but you'll notice in here now as we're in here, again, there's that point there. Other points there is the road I was just on where I was just talking to that guy. Look at in this clear cut, look at the grasses. Okay, you got undergrowth in here still because the sunlight can penetrate down into here. So you still have this kind of growth. So you got grasses and clovers and rye and things like that that come up for them to feed on and provide a food source. And look at all the level, the deer level. Look at all the budding going in on here, okay? You have dogwood in here, red brush in here, you got poplars coming up, you got all kinds of stuff, but they will bud and feed on all of these plant sources and all this food in here, and it's all at their level. Look at this. So much food available, and you can see where they're just nipping this stuff right off everywhere in here, where they're shredding this stuff, but this is all food at their level. Notice how, because this stuff starts to come up in clumps, you have all this open spaces for the clover and for the stuff like that. Now, usually in a clear cut, they have a bunch of, you know, piles of brush and crap like this that they end up leaving everywhere. Well, by year 2, as this stuff starts popping up, second year of a clear cut, they start finding their own trails through this stuff. The deer start sticking their own trails through here, and it makes it very... because of what a mess is usually left in those first couple years, they will really start fine-tuning and nailing down those trails that they'll use to get through here, because they don't want to be just randomly walking through all these piles of crap. They will actually start identifying and sticking to major trails through here, which makes it really convenient to kind of lock down those travel patterns. And so that makes, you look at here, see this? Look how they left this big mess of crap right through here. Well, deer will pick their ways through this and find the best path for them to go. So if we were even to walk this, they won't want to randomly walk through here. They will find a spot and they will use it to their advantage, and then most of those deer will travel that, usually on the edge of this or somewhere easy for them to get through, like this right here. See what we're seeing right here? Just like that. They're coming right through there. You go right through here to get around that kind of crap and not have to deal with it. See what else we find in here. All right, see, like, look at this bed right here too. We got this bed right there. We got another one right there, but this bedding. Now let's look at this, okay? So if I'm standing where that deer's bedded, I'm in his bed right now. Let's take a think about this for a minute and why these make great bedding areas for him. Okay, there's that point of the trees I was telling you. The road is over there. There's that other point of trees right there. So that road goes through there, and I'll bet if a car were to drive there, you could probably maybe see that car a little bit through there. But any access to here is going to come from that road. Okay, these deer know that. This is heavily pressured area. You can see a can hanging right on there. Like I said, this is pressured, but if he's bedding right here where I'm at, I'm in his bed, he has this visual of being able to see anybody trying to come here from any way that they want to. If he's tucked in here embedded, he can see anybody, and they're going to make so much noise trying to cross through all these sticks and stuff. He's got total security from the way anywhere that's here, yet he has all of this amazing back cover that he can just escape right through, just to up and right into there and disappear into this real thick part of this clear cut, and it's fantastic for him. That's why they bet. And we're on a hilltop here a little bit, so if I come down to ground level here a little lower, let's drop down here. As we go downhill, you can see that rise in that hill? He's right there is where he's bedded, right up there, just right up on top of that hill right there, where he is safe, and they can see all of this stuff out here from everywhere around and know exactly what's going on. So they do, you know, look at the cover he's got in here. Look at how he's nestled into this. Imagine this with leaves on this stuff. He is tucked in there well, but yet he has that visual out here in the open side, and he has that escape route that goes right up through here. His bed's right over there. We're taking a shortcut route, but if he wants to pop out of there and escape from his bed, which is right over there, look at this trail he's got going through here too. But he's got just simple escape right into this stuff where nobody's gonna see him or bother him, and he can sneak out before you even know he's here. And it's so thick in here, which is what he wants for that escape cover. But he was bedded there, you'd never even know he was here. By the time you got halfway to him, he'd get up and come right out of there, and you'd never know he's here. So fantastic bedding in these places, fantastic food in these places, fantastic cover in these places, fantastic deer habitat in these places. So don't rule them out. They're fantastic places to hunt, great options, but it's important to know good clear cuts versus bad clear cuts. Good clear cuts are the newer they are, usually when they're, you know, the first year they're hit, they're usually not that great. By year two through year 6 or 7, they're pretty phenomenal, and then they start dying off. Yeah, look at right here. His beds are over there. His bed was over there. There's another bed right there. Look at all this stuff. Just chewed off. You know, gets up from there. He takes 3 steps and he's eating right here. Just fantastic. But these clear cuts, in the first 5 to, you know, or the first up to 7 years or so, they're really good. After that, they start going downhill as far as, because the food gets too high. The food gets too high, the cover down low starts to thin out, the advantages for them start to thin out. Look at that trail through there. Right up through there. So all these things come and go and make for good things and bad things, but just know that clear cuts are you need the right clear cut. Just because it's a clear cut doesn't mean it's fantastic. Just because it's a 10-year-old clear cut and it's real thick doesn't mean it has anything. Again, food, grasses. Look at this. I mean, deer live on stuff like this. There's tremendous grass. You know, they eat grass, but they also eat the clovers, the rye, and all the other stuff that come into them. They got browse. They got everything they need in here, along with cover, along with security, along with everything. So the right clear cut is important for you to find, not just any clear cut. And the older they get, they kind of die out for a little while. Then what happens is when those 10-year-old, 15-year-old clear cuts start to die out, that's when your oaks and your other stuff start to go through them where we're at here, or they come in and clear cut them again and start all over. So it's a cycle that never fails, and it always keeps going. Your job is to find the clear cuts that are productive hunting clear cuts. Hopefully this helps you. All right, we got actually a little bonus score. I didn't realize. I haven't been down here in a while. Again, we're still same area, but I am less than a half mile down the road, and I found a select cut that they just did, like recently here. So we're going to kind of be able to show you a little bit about select cut and the advantages to that too. So like I said, we are still, that clear cut is over there. Here is still 20-year-old, 15-year-old cut that they did before. That 4 or 5-year-old one is down there. I am parked right here, but this is what you call select cutting, okay? This is the gold mine stuff, in my opinion. I love select cuts. Now, what they do is they're coming in here and they're not cutting everything. So they're not wiping this whole entire area completely down to the ground and taking everything out of here. They left these pines in here. Now, I even seen a couple of oaks here and there, somewhere in here, as I was moving by. Yeah, I see an oak still. That's probably just because it's dead. I don't know. But anyway, when they select cut, they leave it like this. So they're not taking everything. So what you have in a situation like this is a few bonuses for us as hunters. One of them is trees that we can put stands in. Woohoo, look at that. That's kind of nice. Scattered around through here, so that's a good thing. But what'll happen in here is now you end up with the best of both worlds. Right now, it just happened. They're in here working now or just finished, but this select cut is fresh. And right now, it's going to be worth nothing. Now, given the fact that we're basically last week of April, it's a freezing cold day. It's 28 degrees and brutal here with winds, but you got to get out when you can get out before the ferns come up. So it is what it is when you're spring scouting. But what you get here with this is the select cut is it is wiped out, yet you have trees that you can hunt from, pretty soon this year, you'll start getting a lot of food that's going to come up out of the ground. Over the next 5 to 7 years, it's going to get higher and higher, and this is going to get real thick in here, yet it's going to be perfect for deer. They're going to be able to have food, have cover, have everything. There's probably amazing bedding right over there, I'm pretty sure. That's going to be amazing bedding on that side over there, right over where I'm seeing all that scrub and crap over there. I'll bet it is. I haven't been over there yet, but this is going to be a good spot for that. And then see all these, how they leave this crap everywhere. I mean, especially northern Michigan. They're disgusting when it comes to how they log. And if you're a logger in Michigan, I'm sorry. And I'm sure you got rules, and I know it's all about making money and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not knocking it or taking it away from you, but you guys are slobs. You know, I mean, you got chippers and stuff. Clean a little of this up, you know, but, or something. But it does work to our advantage for us as deer hunters. What's going to happen is when the food comes up in here, these deer are going to have to come in here if they're going to want that food. They'll find their way through here, and they're going to pick their methods in and out of this area to find the food that's in here as this food starts to come up. As they do that, they will literally trample down trails through here or around here. A trail will come right around here, and it'll do these really weird shaped trails as they navigate these piles of crap that are everywhere in here that are a nightmare for them. These trails will navigate all around there, and the easiest path for them to do, and then they will stick to those trails pretty much forever. And then as they walk those trails regularly, nothing's going to really get to grow in those trails. So even as the stuff comes up, those trails become pretty prominent through this stuff. So it becomes a fantastic source for that 5 to 7 years of growth that of phenomenal hunting that you're going to get out of these places, because they will pick. They're not going to walk right through here. It's just not going to happen. They're going to either have a trail built that way, or they'll literally find a spot like this, and they'll trail through here. They'll crunch this stuff down by over time stepping on it. You'll watch these go from being a log like this to being skinned, to being broke, to being shaved right off. They'll come through. They'll do the same thing here. This will be like this for a while, and then it'll start to shave out as the deer step on it, and eventually that'll go right down, and they'll pick their path through here. They'll come right up through here. They'll come right up through this way or right over here, but they'll figure out their way to get through here. And once they do, they'll use that continuously, even as the growth comes up in this. So this select cut will be a phenomenal hunting spot very shortly. As soon as the food comes into here and the cover's in here. Right now, it's no good. There's no cover. There's no food. There's no options for them in here. There's nothing here that is really, I mean, look at my car over there. That car is 50 yards away, sticks out like a sore thumb. Like I said, there's no cover in here. But when the cover gets here and the food is here, they left you a bunch of trees that you can still hang stands and hunt from. Select cuts can be an absolute gold mine. They are my favorite kind to find. I wish they did this everywhere because it does leave us some options. So, and with the canopy overhead, you get these spots. So it's not random food growing everywhere. Things grow quicker in certain spots. So for example, you have a big sun area like right here where it's wide open up here. This area will actually start to grow first. Okay, it'll grow with food, and it'll grow with the grasses and the clovers and the rye, and then the poplars and the dogwood. Everything will start to grow in here first because of that open sky cover that they have. It'll grow here before it'll grow into thicker stuff. So you'll have pockets of that you can use to your advantage. So select cuts are a fantastic thing. If you find those, jump on them, be ready. This one will not be ready to hunt for a year or two. Okay, I won't even bother with it. You may get some deer in here, and they will start working it. They will start coming in to feed. It'll be at night, you know, mostly because of the lack of cover. But like I said, you give this place another year or two, man, this is going to start to get to be a gold mine. It'll be like that for 5-7 years, you know, maybe even 8 years after that. Eventually, though, that food will basically kind of dwindle out because of the canopy cover and everything being so tight of poplar, like you're seeing over here on the other side of the road. This stuff here, when there's leaves on there, it just chokes everything out, and there's not much for them in there. They'll use it for transition zones and travel, like I said, but there's not much for them in those kind of places right now. All right, here we got another select cut. Okay, you can see they're still here working, still logging it right now as we speak. Logs are set up, but this is another select cut type setup where they left a lot of this stuff. We're going to walk around over here real quick. excuse me, but typical select cutting, clear cutting, like I said, mess on the ground. But they did leave, see how they left these trees? There's a lot of trees still up. With those trees still up, you got stand opportunities in here. Now, we said earlier that it's going to be a year or two before this is functional as far as food coming up and things like that in here where this is going to be worthwhile for them to eat. I'm not even trying to walk through it. I mean, look at this mess. You know, just a mess. And I understand, like I said, I don't knock them too bad. They got a job to do. But since it is such a mess in here, how you use them right now, in the beginning of the season, you know, the first year or two that this is like this, till you get food in here and cover in here and it's like this is still a gold mine for hunting here. This is still good possibilities. Now, we're not hunting in it because there's no reason for the deer to be in here. There's no food yet, there's no cover, and it's a nightmare for them to navigate or try to even walk around through here, so they don't want to be in here. But look at the amount of space. This goes over that hill, and I'm not fighting my way through this to walk in here. But look at the amount of space, the acreage that this clears out. Look at how thick the woods is over here. Look how thick this is. This is a great area that came in and took out. I mean, this is, look at it behind my car over there, how thick it is. This is a prime piece of real estate that they came in and cut here. So now we know that there's a lot of deer here. We know they got to move through here. But we know that they're not going to use this for a couple of years, okay, before they're going to really use this. They need the food in here, and they also want that cover to come up, and they have to weave and start to, that food will draw them in, like I said, and they'll create their path through this stuff that's going to let them navigate through here, and it'll build a network of trail systems in here that they'll use, and this stuff will eventually start to die down. But that'll take, like I said, about 2 years before that happens. Till then, you use this as a no-go deer area. Let that sink in. No-go deer area, okay? Since we know no deer for 2 years-ish are going to be in here, they are going to avoid here. So that means that you just took from that edge to that edge, let's say that that's 800 yards, 700, 800 yards. You just took a 800-yard swath of deer that want to travel this direction in any way, anyhow, or whatever they want to do. They cannot go through here. That means that all that deer travel this way and this way are going to work those edges. Let me put you a little wider here so you can see. So did I set that right? Hang on here. Let's go this way right here. So they are going to either be over here and bypass it on this end, or they are going to bypass it down on that end. These deer that want to travel will work to either side of this, or maybe a low spot in the middle of this over there, just over this hill that gives them a little bit of cover because of the hilltop, and they'll put a path in through there that'll cross them through here. But basically, this becomes a no-go area, so you use it as a funnel. Think of this as a lake, okay? For 2 years, think of it as a lake that deer will not go into, and they will walk the edges around this lake, and that is how you hunt a clear cut in the beginning stages. So yes, it sucks that they came in here and did this to a lot of people. To me, it's a gold mine, because the fact that this woods was just monotone, hard to hunt, not any transitions, no real detail, no nothing, just monotone features. Yeah, there's acorns that would come down in here, but you know, not a ton. I mean, he mostly took pine out of here, some oak, some stuff there too, I'm seeing. But point being that this woods is now better off because of what they done, okay? Even with acorns, you're only getting acorns for a couple months of the year. This will supply year-round food sources for 7 to 10 years for these deer in here, in this one particular area, year-round. So it's a fantastic thing they're doing, and it creates, for the first couple of years for you, a funnel that deer will not come into to use the edges of, and you can hunt those edges and it transitions around this and use that to your advantage. And then once it does have food in here and cover in here, those deer, instead of transitioning around the edges, will actually gravitate to here for both feeding, cover, and bedding and things like that in here too. This will all grow up. Grasses will be built in here, will come up. You'll get clover, you'll get all kinds of stuff in here. You'll have the browse, you'll have everything you're looking for in here eventually. Till then, I gotta find my way out of here. Use it as a no-go. Think of it as a big lake that deer are not going to swim across, and they will hunt, and then you hunt around the edges of it. So these are great in every kind of aspect, but I do love the select cuts better because they left us all those options of trees out there that we can hang stands in. Where if they clear cut it and completely wiped it out, there's none of those, and then you got to either hunt it on the ground. It's a nightmare. You know, this is much better that they select cut it. It makes me much more happy. I'm excited to see this here. Like I said, it'll be 2 years before I hunt in it, but in the meantime, I may very well be in that edge where they'll transition around here, or most likely the edge over there where it's more secluded, and how they'll actually bypass. But by fall, I will see trails that will veer and come right around this, and that's how these deer will get around it. So they are good to hunt anytime. So when you see these things, take advantage of them. Use them to your advantage. A lot of people don't know how to hunt these the right way. And when you get in there and start really diving in and taking a look at it, you'll figure it out pretty quick. So there you go. Another tip on a select cut for you. Thanks for watching. If you want, I got a video or my course on this too. My bow hunting whitetails course teaches you a lot of this stuff in there. So check it out if you want to. Thanks. Talk to you soon. Bye.